Hi everyone, I'm Zach. Welcome to my channel. Normally, I do videos about photography, mostly film photography, sometimes videos about fashion, and sometimes videos about fashion and film photography and photography in general together. And occasionally I put out a bonus episode, and that's what this is. Today we're going to talk about, honestly, my newest obsession, my newest hobby, something that I've been getting into quite a lot lately and been having so much fun doing, and that is retro gaming handhelds. As you can see, I have a few here. Since discovering these things, I've had a bit of a gaming renaissance. I feel like I've gotten back into gaming in a huge way, in a really enthusiastic way, and these little guys are, partly due to that. I think I first came across something like the Retroid Pocket 2 on YouTube, and when I saw what they could do, I knew that I kind of had to jump into this and thought it would be such a great way to relive some of those moments of my childhood and experience some of my favorite games of all time in a, complete and small package. So today we're going to just go over this small collection of retro handhelds that I have. I have a Retroid Pocket 2 Plus here. My newest acquisition is the Miyu Mini, and right here is a custom-built Game Boy Advanced. So let's take a look at that Game Boy Advanced first. Game Boy Advanced was one of my absolute favorite systems as a kid. I probably put hundreds and hundreds of hours into Game Boy Advanced, and I remember distinctly so many moments with the Game Boy Advanced and struggling with that really dull screen. And one of the really cool things that I did with this build, and that you can do if you're a big Game Boy Advanced fan, is put a backlit screen. So I'm going to turn that on and show that to you guys now. So as you can see, that screen is nice and bright. We're going to get the loading screen up here of one of my favorite games of all time, Fire Emblem. So I took the guts of an old Game Boy Advanced and added this shell, which has the cutout for the IPS backlit screen. I gave it these cool purple transparent buttons, which I think is a really nice, fun colorway. And then I'm running ROMs on an Easy Flash Omega. I don't have the rechargeable battery mod done yet. I'm just using regular AA batteries at the moment, but I find that they work, just fine. And this has been so much fun to enjoy as like a take on original hardware. If you are someone that enjoys original hardware and enjoys the Game Boy Advanced especially, I really highly recommend doing this mod, going with a kind of custom color combination and the IPS backlit screen. It is a joy to play and experience Game Boy Advance games in this way. The screen really, blows the Game Boy Advanced SP screen out of the water. It is very bright and very vivid, and I really enjoy it and think it's worth it. And I just wanted to show off real quick, the Easy Flash Omega interface. So when you boot up the console, it brings you to this menu, and then you have a choice of Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, and Game Boy Color games. So here I have all of my Game Boy Advance games loaded up, onto an SD card that fits into the cartridge, and then you can just select one, and it supports in-game saves, which is really useful. So yeah, this is my custom Game Boy Advanced. I've been having a lot of fun with this console, and I'm a huge fan of Game Boy Advanced. So next up, let's talk about my newest acquisition, the Miyu Mini. I actually just got this in a few days ago, and since then I've already added Onion OS, which is a custom firmware that someone in the community built. The community around these devices is really robust, and people are very helpful. There's a ton of resources to help you troubleshoot things, and people are constantly working on things like custom firmware, and it's really making these devices great. It brings the best out of them. I absolutely love the design of this thing. This is going to be my, throw it in the bag, pull it out of my pocket, play a game for 15 minutes tops while I'm doing something like waiting in line, or waiting for someone when I'm out and about. The form factor and the size really play well to that use case. I got the kind of dingy smoker gray colorway. I think this was the better of the two colorways. To be perfectly honest, I wish they offered another colorway, maybe just like a simple black or a simple white colorway would have been really nice to have, but I'm not complaining too much. The build quality on this device is excellent. It has a removable battery, has kind of all the buttons you could ever need, even L2, R2 buttons up on the back here for your basic retro games. This works great for PlayStation 1 and below, but I'm probably not going to be doing much PlayStation 1 on this device. Mostly going to be running things like Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. And actually, that's kind of what I'm playing through right now. I am playing through one of the Retro Handhelds Discord Game of the Month games, Gunstar Heroes for the Sega Genesis on this thing. So it's my first game that I'm playing through on this device, and so far it's been really fun. So let's fire it up. So one of the cool things about this device is that it has cartridge mode. So you can see that, oh, there we go. So you can see that I had the game automatically boot up without having to touch anything. Has some really simple commands to get into the RetroArch menu. So yeah, that cartridge mode is really, really useful for when you're on the go and you need to quit out of a game quickly and then you want to jump back into a game quickly. I'm not going to show off too much about the the firmware and the OS and all that stuff. There's a ton of documentation on that already, even though this device is fairly new. But I'm super excited to get to use this thing a little bit more. I think it's adorable. I love the form factor. I love how pocketable it is, and I think it's going to be awesome to just be able to pull out of my pocket and play for a few minutes when I'm kind of out and about and need to kill some time. And lastly, this is my Retroid Pocket 2 Plus. So actually, the thing that kind of started off this obsession was the Retroid Pocket 2, and then the 2 Plus released, and I was, really blown away by what the Retroid team did with this device. They essentially took all of the things that was wrong with the Retroid Pocket 2 and fixed it with this device. And that's not to say that this device is perfect, it definitely has some flaws. But overall, for the price, it is one amazing powerhouse of a handheld. I like the form factor. It's big enough to enjoy some of those older games, but small enough where you could travel with this very easily. I find this to travel so much nicer than a Nintendo Switch, and it's probably going to be my primary travel device. As well as being enjoyable for couch gaming. I'm finding that it's perfectly comfortable to kind of sit in a chair, sit on the couch, and play with it. Right now, I am playing through Metroid Fusion for the Game Boy Advance, but I really love that this device works well with so many systems. I'm really getting to enjoy PlayStation 1, which is something I never had as a kid. I'm getting to enjoy a lot of PlayStation Portable games that I never really was able to play, even though I did have a PlayStation Portable back in the day. I never had God of War, and this thing can handle God of War. It's really awesome. Same thing with Dreamcast. I never had a Dreamcast and never got to experience Dreamcast. And this is the perfect device. It handles Dreamcast exceptionally well. I'm actually even running Dreamcast on the RetroArch core, which a lot of people recommend using a standalone emulator. And I find this is powerful enough to run right through RetroArch. And it's great for Nintendo 64 too. I loved a Nintendo 64 as well. When I was a kid, Nintendo 64 was right up there with my most played systems of all time. So, being able to go back and experience all the games that I loved to play when I was a kid, Kirby Crystal Shards, game that I absolutely loved when I was younger and, got to replay through. And some new games that I've never played, like Paper Mario and Perfect Dark. Never played those games as a kid, and being able to kind of load them up on a device this size and this form factor, it's super convenient, and it's so much fun. And I think this is kind of like a perfect all-in-one device in that $100 range. It's good for travel, it's good for couch gaming. It can kind of do as much as you could ever want to do. And the really cool thing about these devices is there's so much excitement on the horizon. I mean, a lot of these devices are getting updated now. There are new devices that are coming out, it seems like every week. The Odin just came out, just started shipping to people, and that seems like a super exciting device, a device that I think if I didn't go out and own an Odin, I think I would look for kind of the second iteration of the Odin. I think that would be something to add to the collection. But for now, these three devices, I'm having a ton of fun with. So much enjoyment to be had, so much great experiences with huge libraries of old games that I never got to experience. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're a fan of retro handhelds and maybe you have a Retroid Pocket 2 or something from Brandbrink, let me know. And consider subscribing and sticking around for some of my photography stuff if that's what you're into. But anyway, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.